Hey guys, welcome. Today I have this great video from Kirk where he debates a college student who is entitled and doesn't have a clue of what she's talking about. Let's jump straight into the video and watch.
But don't you think that there's a reason that a lot of the black community doesn't have a father, and it's because of systemic racism? It's because black men are more likely to be in prison.
Oh yeah, so why do people go to prison?
For a lot of the time it's because they're in poverty and they have no other way to get.
Okay, so they commit crimes.
Because
Yeah, but so wait, so wait.
Why do they
So wait, if you're
commit crimes?
So in poverty, we should give excuses for committing crimes?
Yes, because if they have no
murder?
I did not say murder. I said I'm saying if someone is stealing something because they have no money and there's no jobs.
That's so interesting. So you think most crimes are crimes of necessity in the black community?
I'm not saying most.
So gangbanging is a crime of necessity?
That I literally never said that. I'm saying
But you're making an argument of crimes of necessity. They're so hungry they can't handle it.
I'm talking about crime that has to do with getting food, getting stuff that you need to live.
Right, but we have food stamps for anyone that needs it, so that doesn't exist. We have subsidized housing for anyone that needs it, so that doesn't exist. We have free health care for any poor person that wants it, called Medicaid. That doesn't exist. We also have welfare, cash, for anyone that wants it, so that doesn't exist. So what is it they're missing that they need to go? Sorry about that.
Well, the food, a lot of food stamps might not cover all of what they need, and also housing is there's not unlimited housing. A lot of people who are unhoused have to go to shelters, and then they get kicked out of shelters because there's a mandatory stay limit.
Poverty is no license for crimes, folks. Poverty is no license for crimes. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care where you come from. I don't care who you are. But poverty is never a license to commit a crime. Totally disagree with her.
So it's not
right,
you just get a house.
It's not a stuff thing, though, right? It's if you need stuff, there's also tons of charities out there that can provide assistance. Churches, you will not go hungry in this country. You will not starve in this country.
Yes, you will. There's
no, we have an obesity problem.
Street?
We have an obesity problem, not a starvation problem in this country.
What are you talking about?
In State Street, if any one of those people went to the local Episcopalian church or Methodist church, they will get fed. I guarantee it. If they go to a local food shelter, they will get fed.
Okay, but I'm talking. Okay, housing.
For housing. If we have Section 8 subsidized housing in this country, right? If you want to have a roof over your head, you can have a roof over your head.
With thousands of rules, and you can't do anything.
Yes, of course, yes. I mean, it's not ideal, but the point is this. So let's just go back to the crime and necessity, right? Mm-hmm. So why do people commit crimes?
I'm not saying why all people commit crimes. I'm saying there are people who commit crimes because they have no other choice.
Got it. So why is it that other people that are as poor as they are in separate racial groups don't commit crimes at the same rates? For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit over 50% of the crimes. Why is that?
Black people, I would say, not blacks.
Okay,
but
it's not. I could say whites and you wouldn't care. So
anyway,
hold on. Right? I can say Hispanics, you wouldn't care. So don't police my language.
But whatever. I'm not policing your language. I'm just saying I would say black people.
Fair enough. But the insinuation is that I'm being racist. But that's fine.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Yeah, but so black Americans are 13% of the population and commit anywhere between 50 to 56% of murders, crimes, carjackings. Why is that?
Well, what percentage of the white population is living in the same level of poverty?
Got it. So there's twice as many white Americans in poverty as black Americans. Not the same percentage, but still, if you look at white Americans in poverty, they commit far less crimes than black Americans in poverty. Why is that?
Maybe it's because when you're in a store, they follow black people and they don't follow white people.
What about murder?
Rural?
No, but why is it that, just saying murder, why is it that black people commit so many more murders?
White people live in rural?
That's not, you're being followed in a store and you commit more murders?
Yeah.
You're making the role, or I'll get to you in a sec, but
okay.
It's not a good argument. But let me just go back to one thing you said. Systemic racism, right? So the idea of systemic is that it's within our laws. Mm-hmm. There are some black Americans here listening. What can you as a white American do that the black American cannot do?
Let's see. I could go into a store and not get followed. The police could not track me down on like when I'm driving. I'm less likely to get shot and killed while I'm driving. There's a lot of things that I can do.
Okay, so just be clear. So if you walk into a local CVS here, how would you guys be treated differently?
Well, they would probably say hello, and they would probably like just walk, like let me in and like not follow me, and then.
So these are a lot of probablys. I don't believe you, but I'm talking about laws, right? So what in the legal code of America can you as a white individual do that the black individual can't? Because systemic means it's in our code, right? It's for example, like Jim Crow, totally get it. That's systemic racism. What is systemically your advantage?
Maybe like housing codes, because I know redlining isn't a thing anymore, but there is isn't there people who are white are more likely to be given loans because of like they have less like I don't know, that's just the like it's back from redlining, like it's a lot of the same stuff.
So I don't buy into any of that. So I just kind of go.
You don't buy into redlining, or you don't buy
into redlining. I don't buy any of that stuff that happens today. In fact, it's the opposite. Loans are now given favorably to black Americans in certain cities over white Americans.
Okay, but
so we could,
think
because
redlining.
I believe in. I know redlining existed. I don't debate that. Of course, I have. But because of DEI and because of affirmative action, there's actually a preference given. But so let's go back to fathers, right?
Okay, let's go back to fathers.
So something happened to black America since 1965. So in 1965, so.
You mean the war on drugs?
Right. Well, so if that's your contention, that's fine. So in order to go to jail for the war on drugs, you have to be dealing drugs, right? Or you have to be caught with drugs. So if you don't
which is one of like the main jobs that you can have in a like poverty-stricken. Like if there's no jobs, like you're going to do drugs. I mean, you're going to trade drugs because that's the only option you have.
It's such a difference in worldview. You're making excuses for criminals.
Yeah.
And what an insult to poor immigrants that came to this country that didn't commit crimes and worked 2 or 3 jobs and worked themselves out of poverty and didn't decide to go deal coke.
Well, my father is a white immigrant from Poland, and he committed crimes, and he's fine now. So
did he go to jail?
Yeah, he did.
I thought there was systemic racism. I thought that doesn't happen very much.
I never said white people don't go to jail. I said they go more, and you're saying that white immigrants are fine and they don't.
No,
I'm
that's
saying
far
that
less
do.
actually. I'm glad he went to jail if he committed a crime. I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
So, but at the core of it, we have a difference in worldview, right? My worldview is I'm not sympathetic to people that steal, that loot, and murder, because that's a values problem. And I don't like making excuses for people that do things that are obviously destructive. Secondly, we have a problem in black America. The biggest problem is not racism, it's the lack of dads. If dads are around, kids flourish. And you know who agreed with me? Barack Obama. Barack Obama used to make this a central piece of his campaign. He came to this campus back in 2012, drew like a 100,000 person crowd, and talked about how we need to rebuild the black family and put dads back. Why doesn't the Democrat Party talk about that anymore?
I'm fine with having fathers. I'm not against having black dads.
For sure. I'm saying, but don't we agree? Has anyone heard that mentioned on the national scale in the last 10 years? Yeah, I mean, we've heard about
probably
like
not.
Yeah, and
because there's bigger issues.
No, there isn't. See, that's the issue, is that this is what makes us different. As a conservative, I focus on if you have family breakdown, don't worry about climate change, don't worry about systemic racism. All that stuff is like these crazy abstractions.
What do you think create family problems? Systemic racism creates family problems. If you take away black people from their families, then they're going to have broken families.
Okay, so, but that's interesting. How are you taking them away? Aren't they leaving? They're not staying with the women they're impregnating. So, for example, there 13% of the population is black. Not every single person ends up in jail, obviously. And yet there's huge child abandonment because there's a cultural expectation that is different in black America than in white America, which is it's okay to impregnate a woman and abandon her in black America. It's not
based on what? What is that based on?
That's a good question. Where does it come from? It's just based on...
No, I'm saying what is that, like, your view of black America?
Well, it's not a view. It's true. I mean, don't take my word for it. Look at Thomas Sowell and Shelby Steele that have done amazing analysis on this. It's that in black culture, that is not considered to be a stigma. In white upper middle class culture, for those of you that grew up in Waukesha or Libertyville or grew up in Hinsdale or grew up in Naperville, you guys all know those neighborhoods. If you impregnate a girl, a woman, and you just like abandon her, that's frowned upon. That is a social stigma in upper middle class white culture.
And it's not in black culture?
No. In fact, it's glorified by the rap culture.
Wow. What a video. What a video. Mm. You know, this is typical what a lot of students nowadays have become, They just don't know. They have no idea, no clue at all about the facts, about what's really happening on the ground, I mean, this lady clearly, she doesn't even know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about. The ignorance of the youths, in this prevailing age is frightening. I mean, the ignorance of the youth of today, it's frightening, ladies and gentlemen. She wasn't even able to, to utter one coherent argument, or statement, but the sad reality is she will leave this debate and go and tell her work friends that I own Charlie. I taught Charlie a lesson. Can you imagine? How sad. Because sometimes you would wonder, is it maybe for for clout, or maybe she knew that she would end up on social media. There are cameras over there, evidently and obviously. Maybe she knew that would be, and probably that was the aim, to be on social media over issues. Or I don't know. I just don't know, because it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, literally, these people, they stand in the line on their own. I mean, who would do that? Who would stand in the line just to embarrass themselves? Who would do that? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And this lady, she represents a lot of people, especially in today's world, who have been so brainwashed, who don't know about anything, especially about the real issues. They've been so brainwashed. I mean, imagine what she said there. Crime is okay if perhaps you're poor or something. No, it's not. I wonder if she'd say the same thing if criminals would break in her house and steal from her, or even assault her. Do you know there are people who would break into people's house and probably assault the ladies? I wonder if she'd say the same thing. Of course she wouldn't. I don't even need to ask that question. Guys, poverty is not a license for any criminal, or for any crime, rather. No, it is not. But the sad reality is this lady, she has soaked up every bit of propaganda that has come her way, that is, being pushed by the mainstream media. And like I said before, she represents a big chunk of young boys and girls, or young adults out there. Yeah. It's terrible, man, but it's reality. And the sad thing was, she wasn't even listening to what Charlie was really saying. It's as if she just was concerned about, airing her views, just to listen to herself speak or talk. Not to really engage in a conversation, with the aim of learning from the other party or other person. It's terrible. And this is a perfect example of why we need some form of education test, before we let people go out and vote. Otherwise, imagine, a lot of these crazy people, they may end up determining who the next leader of the country is. And it messes up everyone's life. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, John, Robert F. Kennedy, he once said, crime is not a question of criminals. Sorry, he said, crime is a question of criminals. It is not a matter of race, color, or religion. It doesn't matter the skin color that you have. It doesn't matter the languages you speak. Your religion, it doesn't matter. Or the race. No, that's not what determines crimes. It's a matter of, asking the question of criminals. Why do they do these things? What points towards the reason why, for instance, the black community in the US, do a lot of crimes? And it goes down to basically what Charlie was saying, these things that seem like they are not relevant. For example, familyhood. A lot of black families, they are disintegrated. There is no, they are broken, if I can put it that way. A lot of families, a lot of kids, they grow up without fathers. And they tend to, indulge in bad behavior when they grow up, which would usually lead to crimes. Yeah. That's terrible. I would say, I think this lady, she also needs to hear the story of Dr. Ben Carson, of how he managed to triumph, even when he was surrounded, by a system that was way difficult than what is today. But still, he managed to succeed. What am I saying? Point is, when things are not well, when things are not going right, don't let that stop you, but rather fight against it so that you overcome, so that you win. That's what champions always do. So it's not enough, for instance, the black community to say, oh, they are, against us. They are, taking advantage of us. And then they choose just to remain and stay there. No. Go and fight, overcome, win, and conquer. You will win. There are so many people who win out there. So many. I'm a success. I'm very successful, guys. I am very successful. Dr. Ben Carson, the one I just, mentioned, he's doing well in his own regard. So point is, it's not, probably I would say it's not true, to put an envelope to say, this race, things are not okay for them because of what basically she was saying. I don't agree with her. So the best way is to don't develop the blaming, culture. No. People who do that, they never win. They never win. Yeah. Well, it is my greatest desire that this lady someday, will come to discover the truth for herself and lead a productive life. Yeah.